Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. Doesn't matter if my beard is gray. Just listen, I have something to say.
Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. And this old goat has something to say. So just keep learning from Grandpa Dennis's turning. Hello, I'm Dennis Pervinsky, and welcome to Grandpa Dennis's woodturning studio. Today, I'm going to try to combine two concepts. The first one is this brilliant orange fiery look. The other concept is the bark, the look of the bark. I'm going to combine the two. So I want to make a bowl that's got the bark look to it, but looks like it's on fire. Let's get to it. Here's the first step. Bark. Lots of bark. I take the bark and I'm cutting it down into about 7.5 inches in height, cleaning it all up, and then stacking it inside a pail. I'll fill this pail full of bark, and then it's on to the next step. I'm mixing deep pour 2-part and using pumpkin orange as the mica powder. This process took 4 to 6 liters of resin. It is now in the vacuum chamber, and as the vacuum gets more intense, air bubbles start appearing. I have to shut the vacuum off, or the bubbles will overflow the pail and make a mess. Shutting off the vacuum dissipates all the bubbles. Then I bring the vacuum up again and repeat the process until there are no further bubbles. I have never been able to get a clear answer as to how this works. My theory is that the vacuum draws out the air from the resin, which was inputted when the resin got mixed. I also think the vacuum draws air out of the pores in the wood. I believe that process would then create a small vacuum within those pores, and when the vacuum gets released, the resin would flow into those pores. During the process, there's a danger that the wood in the pail will start to float to the top. So I've placed a rock on top of the wood. Then it's off to the pressure pot at 60 psi for 3 days. Now that the casting is out of the pail, my next move, boy that's heavy, is to flatten this out as flat as I can make it, so that I can put a waste block, piece of waste wood, screwed onto my faceplate. I can put it on, but you'll see that if this isn't flat, it'll be rocking, and I can't have that. So this has to get flattened out nicely. And I think the best way to do that is putting it on the lathe. I use carbide tip tools for most of the turning when resin is involved, and I check flatness with a short ruler. The waste block is now epoxied onto the casting. Now the big question is, how do you get rid of all this excess bark? This was the result of the resin soaking into the wood in the pressure pot, and as it soaked into the wood, it reduced the amount of resin and the height of the piece. So now I have that bark to get rid of. I could try and turn it off, but my experience is this is very, very difficult to turn off. So I'm going to take a chainsaw and cut it as close as I can to the surface of the resin. That saved me at least an hour's worth of work. It still has a lot in there to go, but I'll clean that up and I think that'll be a lot easier. There's no doubt that resin shavings make a real mess in my studio, and often get into the house as well. Rather than hollow out the inside of this casting, I'm coring 2 additional bowl blanks. This is the one-way coring system. You'll notice that the steady rest is in position. That's to keep vibration out of the casting. It is very heavy with quite a large overhang. Okay, now I've got quite a thick bowl here, so that'll give me a lot of opportunity for design on that. And then I still have enough depth in here. The reason the bowl came flying out of here was because I never had my tailstock put up in here to give it a little bit of support. Not a lot, just a little bit of support. The problem is getting the tailstock past this. Now for shaping the outside of the bowl. When I'm trying to determine the form, I'm not checking where my tool is cutting down here. I'm cutting down here and looking up here. I think that form is right where I want it. Having a curved tool rest inside the bowl gives more support to the tool as I'm shaping the inside. Constant measuring of the wall thickness is essential. Final cuts are made with a very sharp negative rake scraper. My sanding was from 80 grit to 1200, then buffing for the final fine scratches. My finish is equal part boiled linseed oil, pure tung oil, and high gloss polyurethane. I saturate the bowl, and after 5 to 10 minutes, I wipe off as much as possible. Leave it overnight and repeat the process the next day. Adding some pressure as I'm applying the finish and the bowl is spinning on the lathe gives a little bit of heat to the finish and helps it set properly. Here's the finished piece. This is really bark on fire. 9.5 inches by 6.5 inches. This piece is for sale. Send me an email if you're interested. If you like this video, please subscribe, share it with fellow woodturners, and give me a comment. Until the next time, keep on turning.
Grandpa Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. Doesn't matter if my beard is gray. Just listen, I have something to say.
Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. And this old goat has something to say. So just keep learning from Grandpa Dennis's turning.